Hey everyone, this is Geo Echidna, and I would like to present the Modern Warfare AK-47 versus real life. In this video, I'll be comparing the AK's representation of the game against the actual wood and steel firearm, and see how Modern Warfare's portrayal of this iconic Soviet rifle stacks up. To begin, I think it's important to give some backstory and historical context about this fascinating firearm. The year is 1941. Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany violate their non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union and launch an invasion. Motivated by extreme lust to expand their borders and a genuine racial hatred towards the Slavic people, Germany hammers away at the Red Army without mercy. The under-equipped and underprepared Soviet Union is losing a lot of battles. One such battle was the Battle of Bryansk. A young tanker sergeant by the name of Mikhail Kalashnikov is wounded and sent to a hospital to recover. While recovering in the hospital, another soldier in the bed next to him asked this question: why do our own soldiers have only one rifle for 2 or 3 men, when the Germans have automatics? This statement motivated the young Kalashnikov, and while regaining his health, he managed to develop a new submachine gun intended to replace the large, unwieldy Pepesha. His very first attempt at designing a firearm was a bit too complicated and expensive for the Red Army to adopt, but nevertheless got the attention of his superiors. The Red Army decided that Kalashnikov would be a valuable asset, designing small arms for the Soviet Union in the fight against fascism, and he was reassigned from tanker to the nation's scientific proving grounds. Here he would spend the next several years training and designing with some of the best and brightest firearms designers in the entirety of Russia. At about the same time, the Soviets recovered a prototype of the Sturmgewehr 44 from the Eastern Front, the MKB-42. It was pretty revolutionary for the time, as it had a selective fire switch for full auto, used detachable box magazines, and most interestingly, fired an intermediate cartridge. The MKB-42 fired the new 7.92 by 33mm round developed by Nazi Germany, and it was larger than conventional pistol rounds, but smaller than a standard rifle round. An intermediate cartridge is lighter and has less recoil than full-power rifle rounds, and allows for faster follow-up shots in semi-auto and more controllability in full auto. The benefits of this were not lost on the Soviets, and they went as far as to rethink almost their entire small arms philosophy based on this concept. In summer of 1943, they began development on their own intermediate cartridge, and as soon as it was completed, they began developing prototypes chambered for the new round. The prototypes were to adhere to 4 separate classes: a semi-automatic carbine for standard issue, a light machine gun, a fully automatic carbine, and a bolt-action carbine for rear echelon troops. The winners of each category were intended to mostly replace the then-current Soviet small arms arsenal. The up-and-coming Mikhail Kalashnikov submitted a couple of his designs to the semi-auto category, but they were less reliable than another competing design, the SKS-45 designed by the renowned Sergei Semenov. The SKS was essentially a downscaled version of the PTRS-41 anti-tank rifle Semenov had designed earlier in the war. The SKS had a fixed 10-round magazine and was fed by a stripper clip, which made the design somewhat antiquated right out the gate, but it met all of the criteria of the semi-automatic carbine competition and was declared the winner. For context, here's some footage of me shooting my own SKS. The winner of the automatic carbine competition was the AS-44 from Alexei Sudyev. It was trialed in 1945 after the war in Europe had ended, but at around 5 kilograms, or 11 pounds, it was deemed a bit too heavy by the Soviet military. Since Germany had surrendered and the war was over, there wasn't a major rush to press a new weapon into service without thorough testing. However, 1946 came and went, and no one had yet created the perfect assault rifle, so a final trial was set up for the best designs. Kalashnikov convinced the judges to give him a permit for the final round, where he would be competing against the best firearms designers in the entire nation. After months of development and tweaking, seemingly against all odds, Kalashnikov's design was chosen above all others. In January 1948, the Proving Grounds decided to abandon all prototypes other than what was now known as the AK-47, and began manufacturing in troop trials. In 1949, the Soviet Union officially adopted the Automat Kalashnikova. The -47 moniker was dropped, and officially the rifle was known as the AK, or AK. And the rest is history. Alright, that's enough history for now. Let's do some shooting followed by some gameplay for comparison. Now before we go on, I'd like to correct some common misconceptions about the AK. Number 1. The AK is merely a copy of the STG-44. Indeed, at first glance they do have a very similar external appearance, and it is a verified fact that Kalashnikov had access to the STG while he was developing the AK. However, internally the AK and STG are completely different. The STG also relied heavily on metal stamping technology. The original AK used a rotating bolt and had a vastly different receiver made out of milled steel. One could even argue that the AK was merely the result of an M1 Garand and CH-29 having steamy, unprotected sex in the bathroom of an Applebee's after too many Bahama Mamas. The AK and STG are two vastly different guns. Misconception number 2. The AK never jams. It has been said that you don't even have to clean or otherwise maintain an AK because it's designed to never jam. But as with any machine designed by man, as in fucking all of them, the AK can and will fail if it's not maintained properly. The AK design has a rather giant hole in the receiver that dirt and mud can enter through, which can render the rifle completely inoperable. Make no mistake, the AK is still a very safe and reliable design, but it isn't perfect. Misconception number 3. The AK is controllable in full auto. The Kalashnikov will throttle you like a redheaded stepchild, and good luck hitting anything past 40 or 50 meters with the fun switch turned on. A few years ago I had the opportunity to fire what I believe was a full auto MD63, the Romanian copy of the AKM. It should be noted that I do not own or otherwise possess the weapon shown in the following full auto footage. I fired it under extremely close supervision by the staff at Lone Star Handgun near San Antonio, Texas. Well, without further ado, here's some uncut footage of me firing a full auto AK.
There we go. Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay, full auto. Alright. Here we go.
Woo!
Wow.
Dang.
That knocked my hearing protection off. I was like, that fucking sucked.
At the end of the day, the AK is fun to use in both Call of Duty Modern Warfare and in real life. Its portrayal in the game isn't exactly realistic, but nevertheless it's fun to use. Gunfire is loud and crisp, and bullets feel like they hurt. But while it's fun to use the AK in a video game, it's important to not forget its massive lasting impact on the world. Mikhail Kalashnikov designed the AK to aid in the defense of the Soviet Union, but we all know it did so much more than that. The AK made its way into virtually every conflict of the latter half of the 20th century, and all that those entailed. For some, the Kalashnikov stood for oppression or extremism. For others, it was a tool to fight for a better world or against Western imperialism. Whatever the AK means to you, one thing is certain: its legacy will never be forgotten. Well everyone, thanks for watching. Geo Echidna signing off.